When you envisage a picture postcard from a tropical vacation destination such as we have in the Caribbean, this is probably what comes to mind. Breathtaking beaches, lush vegetation, and gorgeous waterfalls. What is missing is the problem.
One of the issues that we're confronted with on a daily basis is the abundance of plastics all over the place, and it just floods our whole environment in Beaufort South.
We dispatch our members to various locations, to the beaches or the river areas, and we pick up litter. We take a note of that litter, and most of the time, the biggest pollutant that we find is plastic bottles.
The natural environment has always sustained economic development in agriculture and tourism, and of course provided land for major infrastructure, housing, and community development. With that has come what is probably the biggest threat to the quality of life of the peoples of the Caribbean. Our region is grappling with ways to manage the escalating problem of pollution generated from industry and the residents. Today, the most visible manifestation of that problem is plastic pollution. It's not just a Saint Lucia or OECS or a Caribbean problem. It's a global crisis.
Studies show that per capita, plastic pollution is one of the highest rates in our Caribbean states.
And this is quite evident when it rains heavily. Quite often we see plastic bottles floating in waterways, etc.
OECS countries are highly vulnerable to extreme weather events. The biggest threats are from extremely violent winds, heavy rainfall, and flooding. Wind and water combine to inflict damage along the coastlines as seas swell and surge.
Come to town, I'll take you around.
OECS economies are largely dependent on tourism. Similarly, important economic sectors like agriculture and fisheries are fully dependent on the natural environment and the health of ecosystems.
It has been estimated that by 2050 there will be more plastic in the ocean than there would be fish, and that's a staggering statistic.
But all the gains are now being threatened by plastic pollution, a problem that has overwhelmed the capacity of economies, large and small. Plastic is everywhere. In the ocean, our rivers, drains, waterways, and ever present along our roads, highways, playgrounds, and wastelands.
That in itself is a challenge to us in Dominica, and the government of Dominica have taken several steps in terms of introduction of legislation and policy that seeks to address the issue of the impact of that pollutant on the natural environment.
Both our landfills are fast approaching the end of their lifespan. And so there is pressure on us to identify the landfills.
Landfills take up an immense amount of land, and they are cost to operate, which is the central government paying for now.
There is a major issue in the Caribbean, Saint Lucia included, with respect to plastic waste management.
None of our OECS countries have proper plastic waste disposal systems for sorting and recycling. So plastic waste will remain in the natural environment either at a landfill or in areas where it is indiscriminately disposed. This will worsen with flooding in low-lying areas and pollute our marine spaces as floodwaters carry plastic waste out to sea. OECS governments, agencies, and community groups, in acknowledging the growing threat from plastic pollution, have embarked on exhaustive awareness and cleanup campaigns.
The OECS has been in this business from a long time, since the 1996 thereabouts. We've been talking about the need to do something about plastic.
But our use of plastics have outpaced those well-intentioned efforts. And today, the flame of hope has been ignited by the RePLAST-OECS pilot plastic recycling project.
We are gathered here today to celebrate the launching of the ambitious project called RePLAST.
We're talking about implementing an end-to-end process, a supply chain from collection to export for plastic waste management at a regional level and with an innovative economic model.
The government of St. Lucia reiterates its unending support for this public-private partnership.
France, through its Ministry of Foreign Affairs, is the main contributor to the RePLAST project. And we're doing this project along with key partners, of course the government of Saint Lucia, OECS, GIZ, and also some private partners.
Launched in Saint Lucia in May 2019, RePLAST-OECS is a 2-year public-private initiative with a key mandate to develop a model that will help create a sustainable economy for the management of plastic waste in the Caribbean, starting in the OECS countries. The project is the brainchild of a development cooperation consulting firm at the forefront of a number of transformational development initiatives within the Caribbean.
I am Thomas Cholet, co-founder and managing director of Unite Caribbean, a Saint Lucian and Guadeloupean consulting group that specializes in Caribbean development initiatives and regional cooperation projects.
The French government initiated this project. It was part of, I would say, Saint Lucia or OECS French cooperation initiative.
It's one thing to say that we need to recycle and collect plastic, but do we have the systems in place? Do we have the collection points? Do we have any incentives to encourage persons? And this is what RePLAST has established.
This project is not about delivering studies. It's a very operational and results-oriented project with real-life implementation, on-the-ground action, and communities and population involvement.
The RePLAST project was the answer to many of our problems and the opportunity that had been lying in waste for too long, no pun intended, but provided a real opportunity for what otherwise we would have considered waste. And that is why we were very happy to embrace the partnership. The RePLAST project speaks directly to some of our needs, not only in terms of curing the existing problems, but also with respect to creating economic opportunity.
Saint Lucia is the pilot country for the first 2 years of the project, between 2019 and 2021. RePLAST-OECS is a regional project that aims to create a sustained economy for the collection, management and recycling of plastic waste in the OECS region.
Plastics have proven to be very troublesome, but now we are engaged in activities whereby we can convert the troublesome plastics into other commodities and or to ensure that they become part of what we call the circular economy in terms of providing jobs and opportunities for would-be entrepreneurs.
What has happened is that there's been a lot of energy towards recycling. However, recycling is not as easy as it seems, where economics plays a big part. So being able to effectively collect, package and move for recycling has cost implications which of the recent past has hindered the whole throughput.
This pilot project is a trailblazing initiative for Saint Lucia and for the OECS. Because for the first time, plastic waste is now diverted from the landfill in Saint Lucia to be transformed into a valuable recycled item in a circular economy model.
Unite Caribbean provides expertise, engineering capacity, and project management in various areas related to sustainable development issues, including waste management. As the name suggests, Unite Caribbean advocates for a collective approach, indeed a regional cooperation approach to tackling an issue like plastic pollution.
The intention was that we would collect plastic bottles in Saint Lucia and it would be exported to Martinique. At the time, there was a functioning recycling plant in Martinique, so that basically was the genesis of the project.
The project has been designed by Unite Caribbean and its Saint Lucian partners as a public-private initiative.
Massy Stores, who has wholeheartedly adopted and embraced this as a higher purpose.
To date, we have 6 water companies who continue to fight and lobby because we have to ensure that we too do something to help with clean up the environment.
we need to come up with a sustainable solution to solve this challenge faced by our communities in our country. So we are here to support a collaborative effort to build and develop a sustainable model for Saint Lucia.
We are representing a committed private sector partner group. I mean, the likes of Wynwood and Leroy Brewery, which I would say publicly I have great admiration for in their efforts in that regard. The SLHTA, who has advanced with some tremendous effort in that regard, the SMA, you know, all actively involved.
With Saint Lucia serving as the pilot country for the project, the end game is the design of a model that is well tailored to the similar realities and development priorities of other OECS member states. At the end of the pilot phase, the findings, key lessons, and project model will influence rollout in the wider OECS region. The design phase necessitated the conduct of studies to inform the supply chain and the business model most likely to work within a Saint Lucia and OECS context, as well as consumer research related to knowledge, attitudes, and practices with respect to plastic use, and extensive engagement and consultation with a wide cross-section of civil society stakeholders representing government, retail, manufacturing, corporate, NGO, and community-based groups.
One of the projects as part of the overall RePLAST project was to quantify the amount of plastic within the system, how much plastic has been generated by the various communities, and how much is ending up in the landfill, so that we can determine the sizing of the recycling activities that need to be done.
The market is ready. People, they know the reasons why they should be a hero for the environment and for their country. They just want to know how. How to do this? Where do I need to go? What do I need to do? We are targeting individual households from districts across the island. We are targeting primary and secondary schools and clubs, communities and community groups. So there is a way for everybody to enter at every particular level.
The RePLAST-OECS pilot plastic recycling project is comprised of 4 main components. The first is a collection system and incentive scheme.
This project is quite unique in the sense that we've seen in Saint Lucia there have been attempts at collecting plastic, whether it be through cleanup campaigns or other private initiatives. But this one is different in the sense that we have combined an incentive scheme with it.
Even without an incentive included, 72% of people are willing to do it just out of civic duty, just out of love for country. Adding the incentive, that number jumped to 87%.
You need to incentivize people towards positive action. You need to be able to help them to understand the benefits, not just the environment, but to their own way of life and livelihood.
When persons bring in their plastic, they actually receive points, and these points are then redeemable at different business partners.
Plastic collection points, island-wide points and rewards to incentivize.
The very first recipient of RePLAST rewards was in fact a RePLAST collection point volunteer, which is significant as it attests to yet another level of incentivization, one that enhances the proposition of community partners to attract volunteer support, thus strengthening community ownership. A digital platform was developed to ensure the incentive scheme and accompanying rewards program work efficiently.
Think of the digital platform as both an administrative tool as well as a marketplace.
So that digital platform is able to capture data in terms of collections. Our patrons, persons are able to register, and persons are able to redeem their points on the marketplace on that digital platform.
As well as the participating partners will be able to replenish and put their products for sale or for exchange in that platform in a very interactive way, similar to how we'd probably go online and shop Amazon on Amazon platform or the other online mediums you go to extract to buy your goods. And from the administrative point of view, The RePLAST organization has the empirical data, or the can track all data from what the members are doing, what the partners are doing, and the plastics that they're receiving in various classifications and categories.
The RePLAST-OECS mechanism for coordinating and managing collection is a best practice model with respect to public inclusion, participation, and sustainability.
We are partnering with constituency councils, development foundations, youth clubs, hotels, and schools to start the collection system of plastics on the ground from the model we've designed.
So the community collection points are located strategically in four locations: Groseley, Castries, Labrie, and Vieux Fort. The 4 collection points we have right now are being coordinated by community groups. So we have Groseley Constituency Council, Castries is the Caribbean Youth Environment Network, Vieux Fort is the Vieux Fort South Constituency Council, and Labrie, the Labrie Development Foundation.
We consider this project very, very important to the people of Groseley, in the sense that the cleanliness of our town is paramount importance. Protection of the environment is even of more critical importance to us in Groseley. We have been involved from the beginning of the project through the conceptualization of the project, in the sense that we were consulted when it comes to the format, the collection of the plastic bottles, what form it will take. We had a consultation with the organizers at the time. And Groseley was selected as the pilot community to launch this project.
So strong was community buy-in that at the end of the first day of operation, the Groseley RePLAST collection point had recorded 975 pounds of PET and HDPE plastic. By the end of day 2, the takings were at 1,936 pounds.
One of the tripods on which we see our community moving forward into the future. We actually have a 2030 vision for Labrie. And one of the areas that we would like to address, and we have started addressing, is the environment.
Mr. Augustine Dominic says that Labrie, like every other community anywhere in the world, is grappling with the problem of the steadily increasing production of disposable plastic products. He says the RePLAST-OECS project offered the Labrie Development Foundation a cornerstone upon which to anchor their vision.
And for some time now, the community and the foundation has given some thought to trying to address that problem. So with the advent of the RePLAST-OECS project, we saw that as a unique opportunity to begin to address the plastic containers problem, disposal problem, that we had in the village.
I'm Gail Claxton, current acting president of the CYN, Caribbean Youth Environment Network.
Hi, my name is Erlen George. I am an associate member of the Caribbean Youth Environment Network.
This youth army has therefore accepted the challenge to serve within the RePLAST-OECS Saint Lucia network as the community partner responsible for managing plastic collection within the Castries Basin.
First of all, as a partner, you need to be very logistically savvy. You need to know your environment. You need to have a presence in working with different young persons and also different organizations. And I think CYN has that, and that is something that CYN has established over there. It's not only working with young persons, but working with various partners in the community, whether it be constituency group, whether it be NGOs.
Waste management is a part of our daily responsibilities, because as a council we're also there to ensure the sanitary upkeep of our entire constituency and to ensure that we have a very clean and safe environment. We have come to embrace the whole project because as a council we realize that one of the issues that we're confronted with on a daily basis is the abundance of plastics all over the place, and it just floods our whole environment in Vieux Fort South. A lot of persons have indicated that if there was a recycling program, that they would be more keen in terms of bringing in their plastics for it to be recycled. Because at the end of the day, it is our environment, it is our community.
For some time now, the community and the foundation has given some thought to trying to address that problem, ensuring that the environment is clean and pristine and remains as beautiful as is, not just for visitors, for ourselves.
One of the key things that is very significant for this project, especially for the community collection, is that the community collection points are being supported by volunteers.
While constituency partners handled recruitment, the project designed and facilitated a series of educational and skills-building modules as compulsory training for every volunteer.
And these volunteers, so far I think we have about 250 volunteers island-wide, and they're able to support the collection points in their communities.
Yes. The signing of partnership agreements between the project and 4 hotel resorts in April 2021 marked another important implementation milestone. On Friday, April 30th, senior executives of Sandal Saint Lucia Resorts, Bay Gardens Resorts, Harbour Club and Hotel Chocolat met with RePLAST-OECS to advance plans for the partnership.
We're delighted to be pioneer members of the RePLAST Hotel Scheme in Saint Lucia. Very important to us as a business, both in Saint Lucia and globally. Globally, our business is, has a planet pledge and a plastic pledge. And with the launch of our 7-acre visitor attraction, Project Chocolat, we were delighted to be asked, and it ties in precisely with what we are trying to do and what we feel the visitors to Saint Lucia are increasingly conscious of, which is their footprint on the planet.
There were a lot of informal recycling activities happening on island prior to this project coming along. So we were quite fortunate to work with a lot of people who were already interested, who already tried to do something but needed just a little boost.
Like the father and son team of Hilary and Miguel Morgan. Hilary is acting on his lifelong commitment to getting plastics out of the environment through his company BioHelps Limited.
BioHelps Limited is primarily a garbage and disposal company providing services from the north of the island to Castries. We have been in business for a bit over 30 years.
And Frank Flood, with his company Recycling Solutions based in the island's south, who has been in this business for over a decade, protecting the environment by collecting cardboard, glass, plastics, and all wooden pallets for disposal.
And also I collect a limited amount of waste from the community, from large supermarkets, from hotels in the region.
The dimensions of RePLAST-OECS relationship with entities like BioHelps and Recycling Solutions are very strategic to the aim of sustainability. It involves capacity building for export readiness and resourcing these private waste collection companies to play an active role in the supply chain, collecting plastics from RePLAST collection points and hotels and processing the plastic for export to a recycling plant.
We were able to do an assessment of the equipment of all the recyclers. As a matter of fact, the project was able to donate new equipment.
One of the particular attributes of plastic is it's so light, and therefore equipment needed to compress the plastics to allow for economical shipment had to be looked at. So some of the technical support that was provided was actually acquisition of new more high performance machines that can properly compress the plastic and therefore increase the economies with respect to shipment.
So we are so very grateful for that partnership that allows for us to pool our resources and to marry our efforts to breathe life into what we had fathomed for a long time as converting the troublesome plastics into a monetized activity or some form of economic good for those who are interested.
Export is also a key determinant of how successful the project is. The more plastic that is collected and exported, the better. More so that through the export of plastic waste, new revenue streams are created for plastic waste collection entities through sale of plastic to recycling plants.
Recycling Solutions Limited from the south and BioHubs Limited from the north of the island came together on Monday 11th May 2020 to combine their collections of plastic and load a 40-foot container. 29 bales of plastic bottles, 8 bags of bottle caps, and 1 box of preforms were labeled, packaged, weighed, and transported to the seaport at Castries.
I'm happy that that is happening now because it will help, I think, in focusing the efforts on proper collection and separation of waste that can be recycled. Because as a recycler, that's my biggest challenge, is to collect the material because waste is so bulky. If I alone have to do the collection, it will cost so much that at the end of the day, the price that we'll get for the material would not cover the cost of collection even.
A 40-foot container of 45 bales of plastic was loaded on Monday 22nd June 2020 by partners Joakali Limited and Renew Saint Lucia Inc.
We were working initially with a recycling plant in Martinique. That plant has since closed down, and we have established connections with recycling plants in Honduras.
This represents more than 400,000 of used plastic bottles that have been diverted from the landfill in Diglo and that also have generated a revenue for Saint Lucian recyclers.
A greener and cleaner Saint Lucia is definitely in our collective best interest. Importantly, it will speak volumes to the generations that will come behind us.
We've had significant partners like Massey Stores, Heineken, Saint Lucia Limited, and Coca-Cola in particular, where we've had financial contributions as well as in-kind contributions.
They have actively provided support, direction, strategic advice to the project management team, while working closely on various aspects of the project, including the public relations and education campaign, which is critical to the public buy-in on the project and its success.
RePLAST-OECS is your chance to be a hero.
Householders, children, including students, and grassroots communities were 3 primary audience groups targeted by the education program. Using the slogan, "Be a Hero, Reuse and Recycle Plastics," the campaign strove to bridge knowledge, awareness, perception, and information gaps using creative media, bilingual messaging, a comprehensive online archive of downloadable content, and a partnership with the educational TV channel In Time Education, or IETV, Channel 118. This partnership generated a 21-part video series pitched at students at primary school level.
And what RePLAST has done is to set up that connection between households and institutions and private sector and government so that together you have that seamless relationship that allows the process to work well.
And a number of persons would have been seeing PSAs and videos that we've been producing. As a matter of fact, if one goes to our website, RePLAST-OECS.com, you can get a sense of some of those PSAs and knowledge tools that have been developed for the project.
Through the various public awareness initiatives, helping to create that awareness and that ecosystem that is needed society-wide, so that persons truly understand and buy in to the initiative and begin to do it as a matter of a change of behavior and best practice.
And the 4th component of RePLAST-OECS has to do with project management, monitoring and evaluation, with the support of a project steering committee, a public relations subcommittee, and a technical advisory committee drawn from public and private sector agencies.
When you go to a collection point on a Saturday and you see the number of bags that we collect, I mean, the very first collection we did at Grosley, we had 200 bags of plastic. I mean, that alone tells you. So any diversion from the landfill is a win for Solid Waste Management Authority.
So we need to have the overall framework, the legislative framework in place to both be a deterrent as well as an incentive for positive action. We need to ensure we have the systems in place in communities, in institutions and businesses to facilitate the proper practice of waste management.
The project has been designed as a regional initiative from the start, with the view of replication in other OECS countries.
Any program or initiative that seeks to remove or introduce a mechanism whereby that material can be collected, one, and disposed of, two, properly without having any impact on the environment is welcome. And I think, to me, that is the desired outcome of the RePLAST.
The objective of the pilot is twofold. One, to assist us to expand in Saint Lucia, and secondly, to develop new pilots in other islands and to replicate the project to these other islands.
So we believe that the experience that the RePLAST project brings will help us to enhance our own activities in terms of the collection. And one of the issues that we have, though we are collecting, we are unable to export the material as we would like. And we believe the RePLAST project will help us bridge that gap.
And that is why the partnership with RePLAST is so important, because to put out the capital outlay for such a project, to acquire the technology, the know-how, and to operationalize the plant would, as you can imagine, cost the government quite a bit of money that we do not have readily available at this time.
For the OECS member states, it is very important that we begin to transition to what we refer to as more sustainable economy approaches, or what we refer to normally as green-blue economy.
RePLAST-OECS has successfully concluded its pilot phase and is poised to bring on other OECS jurisdictions. All key objectives have been met. Among these are the design and the activation of an electronic rewards program supported by retail partners, 1,564 registered patrons to date who have received over 18 million reward points, 5 collection points established and functioning, 2 experimental shipments dispatched, with a growing stockpile of approximately 50,000 pounds of PET and HDPE collected via a weekly collection operation in the 5-month period since the start of community collection. A recent study by the World Bank suggests that plastics are well on course to outnumber fish in the sea. That is frightening and should worry every citizen of the OECS. Through this trend-setting initiative by Unite Caribbean, RePLAST-OECS is fully engaged in ensuring that OECS citizens and their visitors enjoy natural surroundings that are clean and free of plastics, while laying the cornerstone that will help situate the region firmly within a Caribbean plastics circular economy.